will be a quick review of Unit 1, where we did geometric transformations of points. So we have all of our shortcuts right here in this box. Remember, so when we reflect across the x-axis, we have x negative y. Reflect across the y-axis will be negative x, y. Reflect across y equals x. You switch them. Oh, excuse me. Y comma x. If you reflect across the line y equals negative x, same deal except both of them become negative. Either one of the rotations, you switch x and y, but for 90 degrees counterclockwise, if you draw your arrow, the y is the negative. We have negative y x. Remember, we have this trick to play in 90-degree clockwise. Draw the arrow, the clockwise rotation. There's your negative with the x there. Kind of hard to see it, so I'll rewrite it. Y, negative x. And then 180-degree rotation. They don't switch places, but both of them change signs. So with some points very quickly. So if we start with a point 2, negative 1. If we add 2 to the x's, that's 4. Subtract 5, negative 6. If we use the rule that's here, it says make the x have the opposite sign, don't do anything to y. There's your new point. Take the point to negative 1, and this is a reflection across the line y equals x. It just switches places. X-axis reflection. This would be a good place to have that chart helpful and handy to us. So x-axis reflection is, if we look up to the top, it's the very first one right there. That means that we need to leave x alone and give y its opposite. Dilation by scale factor of 7 means really we're just going to multiply both by 7, so that turns into 14 negative 7. Reflection across line y equals negative x. So that rule, if we look, it's right there, up in the box. And you can see we're supposed to switch them and switch the signs. So I'm up at 1, negative 2. Translation of up 6. So in other words, y plus 6. So we're going to leave the x alone. We're going to do negative 1 plus 6. 90 degrees clockwise rotation. That's this one right here. So, as you can see, take that point 2, negative 1. They switch places. So we start with negative 1, and then the x has to have the opposite sign. So it turns into negative 2. And then 180-degree rotation. They don't change places, but they both change signs, so that turns into negative 2, 1. And then recall that we did it with, we did a lot of these things with actual point on a graph, so take a quick moment, graph all of these things, all these points, and then we'll apply our transformation rules. So the first transformation they're going to ask us to do is to graph the image and the pre-image. So this right now, remember, that's the image is what's going to happen after we do the reflection. So we'll reflect across the x-axis. So in other words, this is a vertical reflection. Another way to look at it, if we connect back to the last unit, so since h is 2 above, h prime will be 2 below, I prime will be 4 below, and as we start to kind of work our way through this, negative 4, negative 2, I is now negative 2, negative 4, j is 2 above, so j prime will be 2 below at 3, negative 2, and then k prime is 1 below, or k is 1 below, so k prime will be 1 above. Let's clean that one up. And then finally, so k prime will be 2, 1. And if you look carefully, we have followed the rule. Reflection across the x-axis takes all the points, and all we do is switch the sign with y, which is exactly what we did here. So we'll just follow our rules here. What are the coordinates after it is rotated 180 degrees? So remember our rule, x, y, we don't change places, we just change to the opposite signs. So negative 4, negative 2 will turn into 4, 2. Negative 2, positive 4 turns into positive 2, negative 4. Positive 3, positive 2 will turn into negative, negative. And then 2, negative 1 will turn into negative 2, positive 1. And then reflect across the line y equals x. Remember, that one just says take your original points. This time they're going to switch positions and nothing else, so we don't mess with any kind of negatives. So now that negative 2, negative 4 from above will turn in, or negative 4, negative 2 turns into negative 2, negative 4. From above, negative 2, 4 turns into 4, negative 2. We get 2, 3, then negative 1, 2.